Your rent goes to a landlord. Your mortgage goes to a bank. So buying a home feels like the day you finally stop throwing money away. But look closer, and buying doesn't end the renting. It just changes who you pay and what you're renting. Therefore, the real question was never rent or buy. It's which path quietly costs you more, and there's a single formula that answers it in any city, in any country. Run it on a typical home today, and the answer flips a lot of what you've been told. The gap between renting and buying can run hundreds a month. You've heard it your whole life. Renting is throwing money away. But here's the part no one says out loud. You can never not rent. You only choose which thing you rent, the house from a landlord or the money to buy it from a bank. Either way, a check leaves every month and never comes back. So renting is throwing money away isn't wrong. It's just half the sentence. So what does a buyer actually rent? 3 things. You rent money from the bank, that's your interest. You rent permission to keep the home from the government, that's property tax. And you pay the house itself, just to keep it standing, that's maintenance. None of that goes toward actually owning more of the place. Therefore, a buyer pays rent too. It's just split 3 ways and hidden inside one word: mortgage. Let's make it concrete and keep it for the whole video. 1 apartment. Price, $500,000, euros, pick your currency. The math is identical. Say you put 20% down, 100,000 of your own cash, and borrow the other 400,000. Now you can rent it or buy it. Here's the only honest question. What monthly rent would make those 2 paths a tie? Below that rent, renting wins. Above it, buying wins. Find that wash number, and the whole debate collapses into arithmetic. But don't homeowners build equity from day one? Barely. On a $400,000 loan at today's rates, your first payment is about 86% interest. Rent to the bank, and only 14% principal, the part you keep. Therefore, for years, most of what you pay is the hidden rent, not ownership. Sell in the first few years, and the cost of selling can wipe the thin slice of equity out entirely. You can walk away owning less than you put in. Now the formula. Every year of owning, 3 costs leave and never come back. Property tax, call it 1% of the home's value. Maintenance, about another 1%. And the cost of your capital, roughly 3%, because the money tied up in this home is never free, and it costs more when rates are high like today. Add them up, about 5% of the home's value every year gone. That's the true cost of owning, so compare that to a year of rent. 5% of our 500,000 apartment is 25,000 a year, about 2,083 a month. There it is, the number we left blank at the start, the wash line, the rent at which the 2 paths exactly tie. Below it, renting wins. Above it, buying pulls ahead. One rule scribbled on a napkin, and you tune the percentages to your own country and rate. The rule is the method, not the exact 5. That 3% is where everyone gets lost, so slow down. Part of it is obvious, the interest on your mortgage, rent on borrowed money. But part is invisible. Take the 100,000 you put down on our apartment. Park it in a savings account or a stock index instead, and it would earn you something every year, but locked in these walls, it earns nothing. Economists call that opportunity cost. Think of it as rent you pay on your own money. Borrowed or your own, capital is never free, and that's the hidden 3%. And here's why that opportunity cost is real, not just theory. The home itself barely grows. After inflation, home prices are roughly flat, historically under 0.5% a year. Over the same kind of stretch, a stock index returned about 7% a year after inflation, call it 6.8. Therefore, a home is mostly a place to live that holds its value, not a wealth machine. Treating it like a growth investment is how people talk themselves into overpaying. Here's that same 5% rule, flipped into a number you can eyeball. Take the purchase price and divide it by a single year of rent. That's the price-to-rent ratio, really just how many years of rent would equal the price. 5% is 1 divided by 20, so paying 5% a year to own is like paying about 20 years of rent for the place. And the danger line sits right around 20, our apartment. 500,000, and it actually rents for about 24,000 a year, just under our 25,000 wash line. That's a price to rent of roughly 21, just over 20, so renting leans ahead, exactly what the 5% rule already told us. Rule of thumb, under 15 buying tends to win, over 21 renting does. Treat it as a 30-second gut check, not a world law. Run it on any home, anywhere. But the formula has one more gate, and it's the one that catches people. Buying isn't a single cost, it's a round trip. You pay to get in, taxes, notary, agent fees. And you pay again to get out when you sell. That toll can run from a few percent to well over 10% of the home's price before the home has earned you a cent. Therefore, buying only wins if you stay long enough to outturn the round trip. That's the break-even horizon, the years you must own before buying pulls ahead. In the United States, where it costs 2 to 5% to buy and 6 to 10 to sell. That's about 6 years on average today, as little as 4 in cheaper cities. And effectively, never in the priciest coastal ones, where buying costs so much more than renting that you simply never catch up. In Germany, where the costs to get in run 10 to 12% before you ever sell, the horizon stretches to 10, 15 years and beyond. Same formula, the round trip just got more expensive, so you have to stay longer to win. Now watch the formula travel. This is the whole point. Take that price-to-rent number and run it in 3 countries. New York, about 38 years of rent to buy the place, deep in rent territory. Munich, a ratio near 35, rent again. Mallorca, holiday demand has pushed prices far past local rents, a ratio in the low 20s, rent once more. 3 countries and the same answer. So is buying just always the loser? No, because the country was never the thing that mattered. Cross the same country to a cheaper city, and the formula flips. In the States, San Jose sits near 45, rent, but Detroit's near 8, buy. In Germany, Munich's near 35, rent, but Chemnitz near 19, buy. Same country, same formula, opposite answer. It was never rent versus buy by nation, it's your city. So forget the headlines. Get your own price to rent and the formula tells you. Run the formula on America right now, and it lands hard on rent. In all 50 of the largest U.S. metros, renting is cheaper month to month, about $920 cheaper on average, though that gap is already narrowing. Why? Mortgage rates more than doubled, from 2.65 to about 6.5%, so that hidden cost of capital jumped right along with them. Owning the typical home now eats 47% of a typical paycheck, just to cover the monthly cost. Up from 29 in early 2021, still near the worst on record even as it eases slightly. The formula didn't change, the inputs did, which is exactly why you run the numbers, not the slogans. A few honest catches, because this channel doesn't sell you a side. Renting wins only if you actually invest the money you save, spend it, and a mortgage's forced savings quietly wins, because it makes you save without willpower. And leverage cuts both ways. 20% down means a 10% drop in price erases half your equity. In a single home you can't sell in a day. Owning buys the security of never being asked to leave. Renting buys the option to walk, and a renter never pays that round-trip toll. Each is worth real money to the right person. The math favors the disciplined renter. Real life often favors the boring buyer. Know which one you are. So here's the whole thing on one card. You are always paying to live somewhere. The only question is which costs you less. Don't compare rent to a mortgage payment. Compare the 2 costs you never get back. Owning runs about 5% of the home's value a year. Renting is the rent. Whichever is smaller wins, once you've stayed long enough to beat the round trip. The fastest gut check. Price divided by a year of rent under 15 lean buy, over 21 lean rent. One formula, your local numbers, run before you sign. You'll never see the words rent or buy the same way again. That's ownership math. So now it's your turn. What should we run the numbers on next? Drop your topic and your best guess in the comments, and the one the most people ask for is the one we build next.